Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. Just trying to get my camera set up here. Give me a moment. Trying to use my back camera on my phone today, see if it gives us a better quality. All right. Looks like we're doing okay here. So let me know if you're here joining me. Let me know if you have any specific questions on pull-ups today. That's going to be our main topic. We're going to discuss is how to strengthen your pull-up. So these could be tips whether you don't have your first pull-up at all and you want to get your first pull-up, or if you can already do pull-ups but you're wanting to strengthen your pull-up, be able to do more pull-ups. Whatever your goal is around pull-ups, things we'll talk about today should be helpful for you as you move forward in your pull-up journey. So if you got any questions as we go along, drop them in the comments and we will dive in. I see Abby said she's got to do one pull-up in 2025. This will definitely help you with that. Southwest said the same. Oh, you've been scared of pull-ups, mostly of failure. That's understandable. You know, I think I'm actually going to flip my camera here. I'm not liking this. Okay. We're going to stick with our front camera. It just works better. It's easy to see everything. Okay. So, strengthening our pull-ups. First of all, there's a few prerequisites if you're going to work on your pull-ups. If you're going to increase your pull-ups, ideally you have the mobility to do a pull-up. So one of the main things for that would be you can get your arms overhead without like really arching your lower back. So ideally that's going to put you in the best position to be able to do push-ups safely and effectively. Ideally there's no pain or injury. So ideally you don't have pain or injury that happens either while you're doing pull-ups or trying to do pull-ups or afterwards. And I would say a strong push-up is a good prerequisite to a pull-up. If you cannot do one full push-up from your feet, I would say that's something to start working on and build up your strength on prior to doing a pull-up, because that's going, even though it's a pushing exercise, it's going to build some resilience and strength in your upper body. It's going to help as you apply that to the pull-up. And then I want to mention that everything we're going through today applies to a chin-up as well. And actually, chin-ups are in general going to be a lot easier than a pull-up. So I would say work on getting your chin up first, and then you could apply all of this to the pull-up, or you could practice both of them. But generally, if you're doing a chin-up, you can use your arms more. So it's going to be a little easier than when you're doing pull-ups, and you really got to get in tune with your lats and your back muscles. So everything we talk about with regards to drills, you can do them either in a chin-up grip or a pull-up grip, depending. And of course, as far as the prerequisites go, you're going to need some kind of pull-up bar for most of the drills that we're doing. So I've got my fitness station, my stall bar plus pull-up bar up there, but you could have just a regular straight bar. If you want to get serious about your pull-ups, you need somewhere to do them, but maybe you're doing them at the park or something, so then you could just watch and apply these drills when you go to that pull-up bar. So first, we're going to go through a little bit of joint mobility, help us get warmed up, but this stuff is also going to help you get better in tune with your body, more aware of how to engage different areas of the body, which will increase your body awareness, make it easier to tap in to that when you're doing your pull-ups. So we're going to start with some scapular mobility. So what we're going to do for this is you're going to think of squeezing your shoulder blades together. That's called retraction. And then you're going to think of pulling them apart, called protraction. So squeeze, spread the shoulder blades. Okay, and then next, you're going to go ahead and shrug your shoulders up. And then you're going to drop your shoulders down, okay? So elevate and depress. So the scapular muscles are all the muscles that surround your shoulder blades, like the muscles of the upper back. Okay, then we're gonna do some circles. You can keep your hands on your thighs, and then you're gonna do circles. So you're gonna kind of combine that shrug with the retraction and protraction. Good, go ahead and reverse direction. Same thing here. Make sure you say hi when you join us. Let me know that you're here watching. If you have any questions about pull-ups or any general questions, you can drop them in the comments. Hi, Joseph. Thanks for joining. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of internal, external rotation for the shoulders. So make like a goalpost position here, and then you're just going to go internal, external rotation, warming up the shoulders. Good, same thing on the other side. We've got, hi Jane, thanks for joining us. Hopefully today's tips will help you a little bit. And Jane, as I mentioned before, ideally you have a really strong full push-up before working on your pull-up. So if that's not something that you're doing yet, that's something you want to start off with that's really going to help you when you come to your pull-up. Okay, next one, you're going to just take your arm up. We're going to take our shoulder through kind of a full circle. As you come around, I'm going to point my thumb back and down so I internally rotate my shoulder. Then I'm going to reverse it. Now I'm going to externally rotate, bring my pinky forward. A couple more times here. Good, we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Come up, thumb starts to turn around, internally rotating the shoulder, reversing it, externally rotating. Two more. Very nice. Okay, now we're going to move into the T-spine or the thoracic spine, which is essentially your spine from the base of your neck to right above your lower back. Okay, so what we're going to do for this is we're going to start by just, it's going to look similar to the protraction, retraction that we did, okay, but I want you to think about using the spine to initiate the movement. So you're going to think about kind of your rib cage lifting up and through your arms, and then collapsing through the chest, okay? So it's very different than if I do this with my shoulders. I'm initiating this one from my spine, and this can be a tough one to feel at first. So if you're not sure how to do it, that's okay. It takes practice. Okay, then we're going to do a little bit of forearm elbow mobility because this is going to come into play, especially if you're doing pull-ups that you're able to rotate well through those elbows. So we're going to go palms facing forward at the bottom, then you're going to come up, you're going to rotate your hands around your pinky, press down, rotate around the pinky. Okay, we'll just do that 5 times. Okay, on this next one, now we're going to reverse it, come back up, rotate around, press down. Again, 5 times, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, next up, we're going to do a little bit of lat activation. Okay, so activating the lats, muscles of the upper back, which are some of the primary drivers for the pull-up. Okay, and your chin up really. So we're going to do a little bit of activation for it. If you don't really know how to contract your lats without doing an exercise, say, so just right here, like contracting and squeezing, can be really helpful to get more in tune with those muscles because it's going to make your pull-up easier than if you're kind of like shrugging your shoulders and trying to use your traps to pull. Ideally, you want shoulders to kind of go down, initiate the lats, and you want the lats to help you pull up bigger muscle group stronger. So a couple of ways that you can do this. Let me grab my band that I forgot to grab. band. So you can use any kind of band here, but this is the one I like to use. It's like a little Perform Better mini band, but you could also use a longer band. You could just choke up on it to make sure that you have enough tension. So what you're going to do is, say we're going to activate our lats on this side, you're going to step your other leg back and around. You're going to kind of rotate through your torso like this. As soon as you start to rotate, you kind of start to feel your lat, especially if you kind of drop this shoulder down, you should start feeling something tighten up right here. What we're going to do is you're going to pull with this arm, and you're going to think your elbow is going to kind of pull back, but mostly go down, like I'm depressing the shoulder, and then you should really start to feel that lat, and then you're going to pull away and pull against that band, and that should help you really feel a strong contraction in your lats. Okay, you don't need to hold it for very long, 5 to 10 seconds. Again, it's to help you build awareness of how to contract. It's not necessarily that your lats are going to feel like that when you're doing your pull-up, but this is just, again, a way to kind of exaggerate the sensation so you better understand how to activate the muscles. So again, shoulder kind of depresses, elbow pushes down towards the hip, then you push away with that band to help have something to resist against. Again, 5 to 10 seconds is great there. If you don't have a band, another way that you could tune into your lats a little bit more, I showed this one on Monday. If you were here on the live, you probably saw this one, but you can practice it with me again. What you're going to do, palms facing forward, arms straight. You're going to sit back into a hinge, and then you're going to push your arms back into your legs. Okay, and so that, with the shoulders down, should help you feel some contraction and activation in the lats. Okay, you hold that for about 5 to 10 seconds. Then keeping the contraction, you slide your elbows up and squeeze, keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears. Okay, and then you're going to slide back down, push back. Again, holding for somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds. Coming up. Good. Back down one more time, pushing back. And squeezing the elbows for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So another super simple way you can get in tune with your lats and you don't need a band for. Okay, so that could be a good way to warm up, doing a combination of getting the lats fired. I'm definitely feeling warm now. And doing that joint mobility is going to be one way that you could warm up for your pull-up. One other drill I want to show you that I think is really helpful for pull-ups and that people don't often focus on. This is an exercise that's going to help you with your core activation for your pull-up. So this one is going to help you with connecting your upper and lower body. Okay, so if you've been to my lives before or you take any of my classes, this is going to be familiar to you. It's called a pelvic tilt. So for the pelvic tilt, what you're going to do is just find comfortable stance, maybe feet hip width apart. You're going to bend through your knees a little bit. You can take your hands to your hips. You're going to lift up the back of your pelvis, and then you're going to tuck it under. Okay, so it's a subtle exercise focused on the pelvis and the muscles around the pelvis. And why is this so important? Because the pelvis is the bridge between your upper and lower body. So if you are disconnected or your pelvis isn't in the right position during a pull-up, it's going to feel heavier than it needs to feel. And just noticing what muscles are working when you do this. Ideally, glutes are relaxed. You're using lower abs to tuck under, and then as you lift up the back of your pelvis, your back activates. So what I've found to be a stronger position for doing pull-ups is pelvis tucked. Okay, when your pelvis is tucked, core is activated, upper and lower body is well connected, and you're going to have an easier time pulling yourself up. You may hear some other people refer to that type of a pull-up as like a hollow body pull-up. It essentially just means you're engaging your abs and keeping your legs tight, and you're here as opposed to like having your booty out, which is going to likely make it feel a lot heavier for you to do your pull-up. Okay, so pelvic tilts are a great way to kind of warm up and get in tune with how to keep your pelvis in the right position. Probably the position that'll be most applicable to your pull-up is feet together. Probably your feet will be together, I don't know, but if you go feet apart, then it doesn't matter so much. But doing a few sets of, 5 to 10 pelvic tilts as part of your warm-up for your pull-up is a great practice. And again, making sure that you're keeping your glutes relaxed and you're thinking gentle activation of the muscles. Also, the slower and more controlled you can go, the better it is. Okay, so that's another important one, really going to help you. It seems like something small, but it is pretty key to having a solid pull-up. Now, we're going to move into some drills on our actual pull-up bar, some hanging drills. So, I'm going to grab these blocks here because first up is going to be a supported hang. So this one is especially relevant if you have never done a pull-up before. So if you've done a pull-up before, you can already hang without support, but if you have not done a pull-up before, you may need to strengthen your hanging position. You may need to strengthen your grip. Okay, so you can do this again either in pull-up or chin-up grip. And like I mentioned, if you're just starting out, it may be helpful to practice a lot of these drills in chin-up. And with the hang, you could do some of each. It's good to do both. When I hang, I like to put all my fingers and my thumbs over the top of the bar. Okay, so an assisted hang, you would just get the arms straight and then just support as much as you need with your feet on a block, a chair, a box, something underneath you. As you get stronger over time, you can start to maybe take one foot off, okay, maybe take the other one off, maybe you kind of alternate and you're challenging yourself, maybe you hang for a few seconds, then you place your feet down so you can kind of work towards doing your full hanging position because that's going to help you build strength and endurance in your shoulders, in your grip. Okay, then once you're ready to go to a full hang, there's some different ways you could do it. So first one would be just shoulders relaxed, and you're just going to work on being able to hold here. You probably want to be able to hold at least 30 seconds. Okay, as that starts to get easy, you can do a hang with active shoulders. Okay, so requiring a little more strength from the shoulders, building up some strength in those lats, a little harder on the grip. Okay, so that's kind of your next step from there. Then once that's easy, you can implement a shrug into your hang. So this is a great one because it mimics what you're going to do when you start your pull-up or chin-up, which is shrug. Okay, and again, this is also going to help you engaging your lats. So this is going to start to build strength and connection to the lats so you understand how to initiate your pull-up. Okay, and then for those of you who are already pretty confident with your pull-up, you can work on maybe the shrugs or something you haven't done yet. That could be something that helps strengthen the initial part of your pull. You could also work on like a swan pull. So that would be where you shrug and then you kind of pull your chest through. So just a little bit harder hanging version. Let me see if I can show it from this angle. Otherwise, I'll change my camera angle. Okay, so what you would do is you would shrug first, and then you're going to think of pulling your chest up towards the ceiling. So you're still keeping your arms straight, but you're kind of pulling back, and that's just going to help you get stronger lats, more difficult hanging variation. Let me know if you could see that well, or if you want to see a different angle if you weren't able to see that. So those are kind of our basic hang drills where we start to build our strength. And then we're going to work on holds. Okay, so holding, that would be holding the bottom position, right? And just getting comfortable in your dead hang position. And then there would be doing holds at the top position, a halfway hold, which is pretty tough. But holds are going to be a great way to start to build that strength, especially if you don't have your full pull-up. But even if you have your full pull-up, if you can get stronger at the holds, your pull-up is going to get stronger overall. Just had a question, what about dips? Dips are awesome. I'd be happy to talk about dips more. Let me know if you have any specific questions about the dips. I'd be happy to answer those for you. This station does have dip capability, so I can put it lower down, put another little bar on it, and then I can do dips on it as well, which is the awesome part about this fitness station here. Oh, like how to start doing dips as a beginner. Yeah, we can, I could definitely do either a future live or I can address that a little bit at the end if we have time. So good question. Okay, so for holds, for working on holds, this is something that depending on your strength level, you may want to do, you could do it assisted. For example, you could wrap a resistance band around your pull-up bar and put one or both feet in the resistance band, and that could take some of your body weight off to make it easier. You could also do it partner assisted. So if you have somebody, a workout buddy you work out with, and they could kind of hold on to your legs and give you just as much support as you need. I actually prefer that one if you have it available, because the band, you can't really adjust how much help you're getting. It's just whatever the weight of the band is. If you have somebody helping you, they can give you just as much assistance as you need. But for that hold, so you would actually want to make sure that you're stepping up from something high enough, right? Because otherwise you're gonna have to pull up to the top. I'm just gonna pull up because I don't wanna look for something that's taller at the moment. But ideally you step on something that's tall enough, or somebody helps you get up to the bar, okay? And then again, I would recommend starting this in like a chin-up grip. So you just hold at the top, strong as you can, keeping your core engaged with that pelvic tilt. And working up to like, well, what you work up to is going to depend on your strength level and where you're at. So if you don't have your pull-up yet, maybe you start with just a 5-second hold, contracting as hard as you can. Maybe you get to 10 and you do a few sets of 10, okay? Exact amount of sets and reps, if you have questions about that, you can ask me, but it's going to vary a bit from person to person. Then as you get stronger, you can work towards doing, the pull-up grip hold. So that would be with the hands, facing this way, palms away from you, right? And fingers and thumbs over the top. This is going to be a little bit harder here for most people. Okay, requires more lats, and you can't use your arm muscles quite as much as you can't use your biceps quite as much as on that chin up. Okay, so then the other option is also to work on like a halfway up hold. So strengthening kind of the middle of your pull up or chin up. So that would be holding like halfway up. Okay, and same idea for your pull up. And again, ideally, you don't have to pull up into it, because if you don't have a pull up, that's not optimal. So ideally you have something high enough that allows you to hold, okay, in that pull up grip. And maybe when you're first starting, it looks like a hold, and then you just kind of come down as slow as you can. So you may not be able to fully do that hold in that halfway position right off the bat. That's okay. Again, that's something where you may need a partner or a resistance band or something for you to be able to hold it, as opposed to your full body weight. Let me know if you have any questions about hangs or holds so far. And let me know if you work on those already, if those are something that are helpful for you. Let me know that in the comments as well. Okay, so then I would say one of the next progression would be working on your eccentric. So eccentric means the lowering phase. So the concentric would be going up. The eccentric is the lowering phase. This is also extremely helpful if you're working on getting a full push-up, is working on slowly lowering yourself. As you work through that eccentric phase, you will gain strength for the concentric phase. So for your chin up or pull up here, working on a slow eccentric as slow as you can is a great way to build the strength to get to your full pull up. For some people, it may be all they need is working on that eccentric, and eventually they get the concentric. Some people may take a little bit more work. Everyone's different. And with that eccentric, you can also use partner support or a band. Again, I would highly recommend if you can have somebody help you. It's more effective because the resistance band has the most, it gets like you get more resistance as you go down. So essentially it gets easier the further you go down, but you actually may need more support at the very top. And so that's where having a partner is like holding onto your legs and just giving you as much support as you need can be really helpful because it's going to be more effective and efficient for wherever you're at. Okay, so real quick demo of your eccentric. Again, ideally you have somebody help you up to the top, similar to the hold, or maybe you can jump up to the top, or you have a box or a stool or something you can stand up to get to the top. If you already have your pull-ups, you can kind of do it like I do, like either just kind of pull yourself to the top and then go down slow, or like jump up to the top. Okay, so same idea whether it's chin up or pull up. Actually, I have my stall bar things. This is the benefit of having this stall bars. You can kind of just climb up to the top. Okay, and then hold, and then slowly lower. Obviously, the slower you lower, the harder it's going to be. So you'll get slower the stronger that you get. You'll be able to lower slower and slower over time. And initially, it may not feel like you're going that slow. It may feel like you're just kind of fighting for your life, trying to go slower as you go down. That's okay. It will get stronger over time. Okay, then we have partial reps. Okay, partial reps would be kind of next after your eccentric. With the partials, you can either work the bottom half or the top half. Now this is also really helpful if you're trying to get more pull-ups because you can focus on the area that's most challenging for you. So some people have more trouble pulling out of the bottom position, like that's harder for them. Some people have more problems with finishing and getting hot, nice and high over the bar. I'm the second one. Let me know if you know which one you are. So if you have more problems with pulling out of the bottom, then maybe you'd focus on doing some partials just in that bottom position and getting a little bit stronger, focusing your energy on that. If you have a little more trouble with that top half, then you'd focus on those top half pulls. Okay, so I'll show you real quick what that's going to look like. Again, these can also be done with bands or partner assisted if you're working towards your pull-up to give you a little bit of variation. How you work on getting that first pull-up, we'll talk about it in a minute, but you could do a combination of these different drills and exercises, or you could just pick one that you feel like is helping you the most and just focus on continuing to improve with that one exercise. And then over time, you could either switch it out for something else, or maybe that exercise gets you your first pull-up and you could use the other ones to help you strengthen. Okay, so partial from the bottom, whether you're doing pull-up or chin-up, I'm gonna go pull-up grip on this one. So we're gonna think, engage the abs, tuck that pelvis under, and then you're gonna go just working that bottom half, engaging the lats, and then pulling. Okay, and again, how many reps you do is gonna kind of depend on your strength level, and you wanna be able to do each rep with good form. If it starts breaking down, rest. You could always do another set. Then you're gonna have your top half. So again, you could either jump, climb if you're me, or have somebody help you. Okay, we'll start at the top. We're gonna go down halfway, pull up, I would say that one's definitely harder. At least when you go to the bottom, you have a little bit of rest. When you're going top, here it's like neither position feels like rest. Okay, so then we have, okay, I talked about, so now you could do an assisted, like again, if you're working towards your first full pull-up, you could now work on partner or band assisted full pull-ups. So I should have gotten a band out, but that's okay. If you have questions about how to use the band with the pull-up bar, let me know. So you could attach a band, put one or both feet in, and work your full range of motion, you know, either chin or pull-up, or you could do partner assisted again. I recommend partner assisted if you can. I know not everybody has partner available, but that's gonna be, thank you. I just got a band. That's gonna be the most helpful because they're gonna be able to mitigate how much help they're giving you depending on how much you need versus the band. As I can show you here, now that I have, oh, hi, kitties coming to check it out. So for the band, you would just slide it through like this. This is a very heavy band, so this would be good for a beginner. You could put your knee or your foot in here. The hard part might be the flexibility to get your foot in. Don't fall off your box like me. Okay, so this is gonna give you a lot of support, and especially at the bottom. Like I have the most support at the bottom and then less support as I go up. So this is a bit of a dangerous band because it's so supportive. So because it gives you more help at the bottom, the downside of that is usually for beginners, pulling out of the bottom is the hardest part. So it's not going to give you the practice for that, which is why you want to practice the shrugs. You want to practice those bottom half partials. And it's still going to help you though. I kind of lost my train of thought there for a minute, in case you're wondering about the blank stare. It's still going to help you though to go through full range of motion pull-ups with the band because you're training the range of motion, and you can decrease the thickness and resistance of the band over time to make it more appropriate for your level. Okay, so now this next drill is really specific to people who want to improve the strength and the quality of their pull-up now. So this is a tempo pull-up, a slow tempo pull-up. So that means you're going to do your pull-up literally as slow as you can. I don't know if you're active on social media and you look up fitness stuff. I think there was a challenge some years ago. It was like the 1 minute pull-up challenge. Can you do your pull-up in 1 minute? Can you go so slow that you make the way up 30 seconds and the way down 30 seconds? I'm not saying you need to do it that slowly. You could, you're gonna get pretty strong. You're gonna be really strong if you can do that. And you don't necessarily need to do it that slow. It could be like 4 or 5 seconds up and down, okay? So, and again, chin up or pull up. You could do it with a band or partner assisted as well, but I would say this drill is gonna be more relevant to you if you can already do pull-ups, okay? So, yeah, I'm going up on my blocks again, even though it's dangerous, right? So let's say chin up, okay? You could do it either way, but you're going to go nice and slow. As slow as you can. And then down, nice and slow, which we already did on our eccentric, but it's gonna feel a little bit harder after you've done your way up slow. So if you can do tempo pull-ups, your regular pull-ups are going to be so much stronger. So doing slow tempo pull-ups, I highly recommend it. If you're trying to increase the number of push-ups you can do and pull-ups you can do, your regular reps are gonna feel so much easier after doing it slow. So really build strength throughout your full range of motion. And what it's gonna help you with is building the quality of your pull-up, because in my opinion, the quality of your pull-up, that you're able to pull yourself up high, that you're able to do it with good control, is going to be better than quantity. If you're doing just a high number of really sloppy reps, don't think it's going to work as well. It's not going to be as effective at activating the right parts of the body. Other things are going to start to compensate because you're getting tired, and you increase your injury risk because of that. So I would always focus on quality over quantity for any kind of strength training, but especially for like a more difficult movement like a pull-up. Being able to do like 3 really solid pull-ups, like perfect form, is more impressive to me than if somebody went up and did, 20, 30 sloppy pull-ups. Like, it's kind of like, well, you're not even really finishing all the way at the top. It's not actually the full exercise. So focus on quality over quantity, and I think your quantity will naturally improve anyway. Do you guys have questions for me about the pull-up or about anything I talked about? Where's my seat? Grab my little bouncy ball chair. So as far as how to program or train for your pull-up, so I'm all about minimum effective dose. Do as little as you need in order to make progress, because that is going to reduce your injury risk. You're going to enjoy it more. You're going to be able to recover from the training that you're doing. So minimum effective dose. So for each person that may look different. Personally, if I start to train pull-ups too frequently, it can irritate my shoulders, or I can just be too exhausted from it. So I personally wouldn't really train pull-ups or chin-ups more than once a week. Even that, I don't, honestly. I can still rep out a lot of chin-ups and pull-ups, and I don't train them all the time. So once you've gotten yourself to a full pull-up, or once you've gotten yourself to a number that you're happy with, it's not that difficult to maintain it. You just, need to visit it here and there, and maybe, do some of these drills. You don't always have to do a full pull-up, like tons of reps of pull-ups. You could train your holds, you could train your partials, work on different drills than just that full pull-up. You can alternate between doing chin-ups and pull-ups. For me, pull-ups sometimes can be more irritating on my shoulders than chin-ups, so sometimes I prefer to train chin-ups. Let me know if you guys have any other questions on pull-ups or anything that I've covered so far. Okay, well, if there's no questions, you guys can still drop them if you have any. We did have the question about how to start doing dips as a beginner. My approach to that would be very similar to pull-ups. Besides, there's going to be some range of motion. You're going to need to be able to access back here. Okay, so that your shoulder extension becomes more important. So that's something you want to make sure that you have prerequisite. You have some mobility there. And you know what? We can talk about that a little bit, because I think what I talked about today and the different strategies and steps for pull-ups are going to apply very similarly to dips, actually. You can really apply that very similar. James says, I can't feel my left lats. What can I do to fix this? So I showed a drill in the beginning. I'm not sure if you missed it, but this is a great drill to do. You can do it like without a band, but the band just helps. So what I do to really activate the lats is I would step behind, then you're going to rotate. So if I'm trying to activate my left lat, I'm going to pull my shoulder down and pull my elbow towards my hip. And then I'm going to pull on this band. And that is a great way to activate your lats. Okay, so maybe maybe you had some kind of injury, maybe there, for some reason you kind of lost connection to the lat, so it can be helpful to do some activation drills. Like that is a great one. You don't necessarily need a mini band. You could use some other kind of resistance band. You could just choke up on it. Let me know if you try that and if that works well for you. Okay, so we'll take this bar. Woo! See, it's dangerous for me to leave things on the floor. I trip over them. Okay, so we're going to take this guy down. To a lower rung. I'm going to see if I can keep my ring straps on there so I don't mess with them. Okay, so this is going to set me up for dips. I'm also going to need my extra rung here. So this is my dip setup. Okay, so for dips, Similar to pull-ups, what you're going to want to practice first is like your hold. Okay, so there's not a hang here, but the equivalent to our hang on a dip would be to work this top position. Okay, so making sure that you can hold here. Okay, again, you could hold with kind of relaxed shoulders, or you could hold with active shoulders, or you could do shrugs here. Okay, and that's going to start to help you with some of the strength. You could do a dip partner assisted or band assisted. The engaging your core and using your tilt is going to be important as well. Doing partials, doing eccentrics. So for partials, you could either go from the top and just do like a partial rep, okay, start working that top range, or you could go to the bottom, right, and you could work on, that's going to be hard. Actually, you could do holds at the bottom if you have the height on your dip bar. This would be good too, doing short holds, but that could be really, really intense, so you're going to want to be cautious with that if you don't have the strength for it yet. And then over time, as you get stronger, you could do a partial in the bottom. But again, be really, really cautious with the bottom one because that is way, way harder than the top one. So probably not something you want to start with. Then you could work eccentrics. Okay, so working a slow downward rep and then resting. And then you could work on doing, a partner assisted or band assisted full. You could work on a slow tempo dip. Again, same idea that the quality is more important than the quantity. James said, yes, I injured my shoulder in the past while doing seated cable rows. Yeah, injuries happen. Ideally, we avoid them as best we can, but sometimes they just happen. So sorry to hear that, but that kind of makes sense that, if your shoulder if there's some protecting or guarding going on in your body, then it might be hard to get your lat to activate, and maybe, your shoulder was kind of in a depressed position here when you were doing the cable rows, which is when it activates your lat. So maybe that is perceived by your body as to be a scary position, so you may need to just slowly work on getting back in tune with that lat. Even just, placing your hand on your lat and trying to do gentle contractions, even if you can't feel it yet, but you can kind of, with your finger, you can, okay, I know it's contracting. I don't feel the burn, but I feel that it's starting to contract over time. You can work on getting a stronger contraction there. Will JF said, LOL, pointless. Let us know, Will, what you think is pointless and why. I'm open to hearing your thoughts. Any other questions on pull-ups or dips? Is anybody working on getting their first pull-up or dip? Or are you already proficient with pull-ups and dips? Let me know in the comments because I really have no idea besides Abby and Southwest who told me they're working on their pull-ups. James said, can you show the pull-ups again? So what I talked about with pull-ups, I showed a lot of drills, so I'm not going to show them all again, but I showed different hanging drills from the top position. I showed partial reps. I showed going down nice and slow, and then also doing like a slow tempo all the way up and all the way down. Hey said, I haven't tried dips because I don't know shit about it, LOL. Hey, that's okay. That's probably smarter to not have tried it if you don't know, than to just be like, I'm just gonna go all in on it and I don't know what I'm doing. Dips, I think with dips, you want to take it slow and be cautious because, again, going into this position can be a more vulnerable position for the shoulder. So you want to take it slow and take your time as you work into those dips. It is a very challenging exercise. So yeah, I would say for most upper body strength, any strength, but especially upper body, it can be really helpful to work a slow eccentric. Whether or not you already have a full rep or whether you want to increase your reps, that eccentric is like, or going down, it's tough. I mean, I haven't even really done a dip eccentric much until I just showed it to you. And I'm like, wow, this is actually really hard. This is harder than doing an actual dip. Yeah, Hay said, I try to do it for triceps after watching YouTube tutorials, but I just felt it on my chest. It is going to work your chest as well. Some of that could be range of motion. Also, you want to think about kind of being able to squeeze your elbows together. And there's different ways to do it as well. You can try to stay more upright, but I think it's a little better to think of dropping your chest forward. Okay, but you are going to probably feel some chest, and especially if your chest and shoulders are tight, you may feel more work there. But if you're extending all the way, the triceps are definitely going to be involved also. South to West says, I'm going to start working on pull-ups. Yes, glad to help inspire you. Pull-ups bring bad memories from high school and PE that made them do us in front of everybody and failed miserably. Yeah, that is never fun, like public humiliation for that kind of thing. When some people just have a much harder time with pull-ups for whatever reason, whether it's the mind-body connection, whether it's just the certain muscles. I don't know. Some people just get it really quickly or are able to do it, and some people it takes a lot longer for them to be able to do it. So that's just how it is. But I'm sorry that's a bad memory for you. But you're going to just, kick all those bad memories out as you work on your pull-ups now, and just work on it as it's not about how many you can do. It's just about the journey and process of like empowering yourself. Of like, yes, I was finally able to do a pull-up, or I worked up to 5 pull-ups. I got to 10. I got to, it's an empowering journey. So I encourage you to work on pull-ups if you have it available to you. Again, I would highly recommend being able to do a really strong push-up before you do pull-up or dip, because it's going to make it a lot easier. James asked, you got any posture tips? For posture, I think it's really helpful to do some joint mobility if you don't already do it, to kind of start to become aware of what postural challenges you may be dealing with. So one important one would be like the chicken double chin exercise. I've shown this one before, but like pushing your chin forward and then gliding it back, because we end up all kind of being in this position that leads to like a hunched posture from driving or screens, etc. So checking in with yourself and make sure that you're, thinking about kind of gliding your chin back. Similarly, like retracting and protracting the shoulders. I have a bit of forward, you can tell my shoulders kind of roll forward, which I attribute to years of doing kettlebell sport in this position and my pecs getting like really tight. So that's something that I kind of continuously work on, like how can I get my shoulders to sit in a more neutral position. Pelvic tilts that I showed earlier, this one is key for posture, because generally if you end up walking around like this, like I used to always walk around kind of like this, you end up arching your back, your lower abs stretch out, you end up kind of compensating in different ways. Similar if you kind of walk around with your pelvis really tucked under and your glutes are always tight, that could cause issues. So you want to kind of find like a neutral position where your glutes are relaxed. That could be really helpful for posture as well. In addition to like strengthening your upper back muscles, that's going to help with your posture, definitely. Shazeb said, I can do 12 pull-ups one time, but 50 push-ups one time. Hey, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, pull-ups are definitely a bit harder to get up to high reps than push-ups, that's for sure. Yes, Sticks066, I said work on your push-ups to help your pull-ups, especially if you have not gotten your first push-up, or maybe you can't do like 20 solid from your toes push-ups. I would say that the strength, just having that level of upper body strength is going to help you. If you're trying to do a pull-up but you can't even do one push-up, a pull-up is harder than a push-up. So that's why I would recommend, like, it's a little more incremental to maybe work on your first full push-up and then start to work on your pull-up. But similarly, if you kind of struggle with push-ups, if you're able to get better at those, I do think that it will transfer and carry over to your pull-ups. That's definitely been my experience in the past. Any other questions about pull-ups, dips, or anything else. Hopefully you guys saw that I'm going live tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. We're going to talk about how to stay on track with your fitness. So this was a topic that somebody requested last year. I might have even been you, South to West, I'm not sure, but somebody requested staying on track, like staying on the wagon with your fitness. So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow, is just my tips for how can you stay consistent over time with your fitness so that you are getting healthier and stronger, fitter, etc. James asked, what's my favorite core exercise? Definitely the pelvic tilt. The pelvic tilt has helped me the most as far as any core exercise goes. You have a favorite core exercise, James? Let me know. For those of you who don't know this already, I teach classes for kettlebell training, mobility, isometric work inside the Kettlebell Solo membership. So I teach follow-along classes. You can access them on the Kettlebell Solo YouTube channel, or if you join the membership at kettlebellsolo.com, we also have a free trial. So if you're interested in more of the classes and programs that I teach, you're going to want to check that out, especially if you're interested in kettlebell training. Hay said, the thing with dips is that it targets lower chest, and chest looks saggy, but if there's too much lower chest muscle, I also want to do dips because it looks cool. Is there a way to do it without lower chest? I'm not sure what that means. Is that your experience that it's done that, or is that other people say it does that? Because in my experience, maybe the dips have helped strengthen my chest some, but I would say it's more from shoulders and triceps that have strengthened. So I wouldn't know how to tell you how to do a dip that like, oh, it doesn't target like this certain area, because I don't know how you're doing it. I don't know what your mobility and range of motion is. So no, I can't really tell you that, but I do think that dips are a good exercise if they don't cause pain for you and you enjoy doing them. James said, pelvic tilt, what's that? It's literally just doing a tilt here. And as you tuck under, you're using your lower abs to tuck under. Really, really helpful exercise for anything else that you're doing, core-wise or strength-wise. Bruno asked, do you train only with kettlebells? Do you train at the gym, CrossFit, watching you from here in Brazil? Bruno, I train mostly with kettlebells, kettlebell solo training, which is what I teach. And then I do some handstand stuff. I do some stuff on the stall bar, so like more calisthenics type exercises. No, I do not train CrossFit. I used to train at gyms, but for the last 5 years, I've only just trained at home. So I train with kettlebells and body weight, and that's mostly it. I go outside and take a walk. Very occasionally I run, but I don't do a whole lot of cardio outside of walking. That's my favorite form of cardio. Other questions on pull-ups, dips, or fitness in general? I'm going to take a few more questions before I log off today, and then, as I mentioned, I'll be back tomorrow. Camille asked, do you deadlift with kettlebells? Well, absolutely. Yes, I do deadlifts with kettlebells all the time. I love doing lots of different deadlift variations. Deadlifts are one of my favorite exercises, so absolutely do. Do you do kettlebell deadlifts, Camille? Let me know. How about you, Bruno? Are you into CrossFit? Camille asked, how heavy is it? I don't really focus on going heavier and heavier, so I have a 32 kg kettlebell that I deadlift sometimes, but I also like to use like an 8 kg or an 18-pound kettlebell, and I do like a more complex version of a deadlift, like a single leg deadlift, or a slow tempo deadlift. So I mostly lift light to moderate weights, and every once in a while I lift something heavy, but I've found over the years that lifting heavy all the time, which is what I used to do, just kind of beat up my body. So now I take a more moderate approach so I can stay consistent. My routine is sustainable and doesn't tire me out. Camille said, yes, I do 24 kg only, but I do 15 reps by 5 sets. Nice. Yeah, I think there's benefits to doing high volume. I personally have found that like switching up some other variables to make it more difficult other than increasing the volume or increasing the weight can be really helpful to not beat up your body as much and to be able to, again, have a sustainable routine, because that's what leads to lasting results over time is consistency. And that means your routine needs to be sustainable in the long run. You need to be able to continue it for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, and think about the long term. Thanks, Bruno. What do you do for your training, Bruno? Other questions that you guys have about training, pull-ups, dips? Camille said, what about horizontal pull? Really appreciate your answers. Yeah, I think horizontal pull, I assume you're talking about something with a like a suspension trainer or a barbell where you're doing a pull. I think that's a great horizontal pull. I think like I love rings. My rings are back there, but I like doing like a ring row. Those are great. You know, a bent row is a great pull as well. And I love like a seated row at a gym. Like I don't go to the gym a lot, but I love like the machine where you sit, you know, with your feet out and you do the seated row. That's one of my favorite horizontal pulls. So maybe I'll need to get one of those machines at some point in my house so I can use it. Yeah, ring row with legs on the floor. Occasionally, if I want to make it really hard, which is, like I said, occasionally, I'll put my feet up on the rungs of the stall bar, but usually just with my feet on the floor. James just asked any shoulder mobility tips or warm-ups. Yeah, so for shoulders, and I showed these in the beginning, but even just working on retract, like squeezing your shoulder blades together, and protract, that's a great start. Doing like a shrug up and down and then doing circles in each direction. That's a great start there. Also like to do like a full circle for the shoulders where it rotate around into internal rotation, then reverse that. Okay, so doing those, that's a great one. Doing some internal, external rotation for the shoulders with bent arms. You could also alternate, or doing a internal, external rotation. Single arm is great. You can also do that together. It's like a dance move. You're welcome for that one. So those are a few of my favorite shoulder drills, kind of warm-ups and drills that'll help you with your shoulder mobility. Bruno said, I trained with kettlebell during the pandemic. Now I'm training at the gym. I miss training with the kettlebells. Yeah, kettlebells are awesome. Maybe you got to cut out one gym day and do a kettlebell workout at home instead. Other questions? Do you guys have any questions about tomorrow's topic that I can answer for you? Staying on track with fitness. If you have any questions there, let me know. If you have topic requests that you'd like to see for future lives, I love to take topic requests, and I will usually choose my topics at the end of this week for next week. So let me know if there's anything specific you'd like to see. Camille said, what about yoga and stretching? Yeah, I think if you like yoga, that's awesome. I used to do a lot of yoga. I don't do it anymore. Mainly, I find that I get a better result from stretching if I just kind of tune into what my body needs rather than listening to a routine that somebody else has set up. So I prefer to stretch and mobilize in whatever way feels good for me. But absolutely, stretching is great. That's great, Bruno. I'm glad my videos are helping you with kettlebell stuff. That's awesome. South to West, and maybe for tomorrow's stream, do you suggest creating a written calendar for training? That's a good question. We can talk about that. Rachel said, 40 female here. Suggestions on completing my first pull-up. I train 5 times a week, but weigh 145. I don't know if you watched the live so far, but I did give a lot of tips. I can rehash them real quick here, but if you want to get the full thing, you can watch the replay after, because I did talk about a lot of different tips, which starts with getting in tune with your lats, activating your lats, using pelvic tilts to help engage your core and better connect your upper and lower body, different versions of hangs that you can do to start to build just your strength in the hanging position, holds, partials, and eccentrics, and then either using like a band or a partner to assist you. Also, I personally, like if you already train 5 times a week, if you're trying to add pull-ups on top of that, I wouldn't recommend it. It sounds 5 times a week is already a lot to recover from depending on how intense your workouts are. So I I would suggest like subbing out one of those 5 days or going down to like 3 or 4 days and having pull-ups be like maybe once a week. If you train it too frequently, it's difficult to recover from, especially if you already work out. So definitely spreading it out in a way that you can recover from, because again, if you can't recover from it, you're still sore. You're going to be really disappointed when you try again because you're just going to feel fatigued and like you don't have the strength for it. So making sure you have enough recovery time is really key. Camille said it's good to have a structure at the beginning. How many pull-ups can you do? I don't know, 10 maybe? I have at different times in the past probably been able to do 15 or 16, but I don't really train them. So being able to do 10 without really training them much, I feel good about that. Hi, Abby. I don't know if you're just joining now, but you're probably going to want to watch the replay because we're getting down to the end here. Thanks, Camille. How many pull-ups can you do? Any other questions before I log off today? If you're just logging on and you're interested in what I shared, just after I log off, the replay will come up and you'll be able to rewatch from the beginning so you can get all the tips that I shared. I shared a lot of really useful tips on how to get either your first pull-up or how to strengthen your pull-up and increase the number of pull-up reps that you can do. Yeah, sorry, Abby, but you can watch the replay. Sorry, I hope you didn't think it was at 10. It started at 9. Camille said 4. Nice. That's great. You're welcome, Rach. I appreciate you joining, and let me know if there's any other specific topics you'd like to see me cover. I'd love to help. Yeah, if there's no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and log off. I really appreciate all of you for being here today. I appreciate your questions. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. It's going to be at 3:30 Pacific time. So if you joined me last year, it's an hour earlier than I was doing last year. So just giving you a heads up on that. We're going to talk about staying on track with your fitness. Bring your questions. I'll look forward to seeing you then. Have a wonderful